Hello and welcome back to the When You're Podcast, the podcast for when you're doing anything. Today we're talking about when you're enjoying a nice, quiet, peaceful morning. You know that moment? Have you ever had that feeling when you wake up early in the morning, earlier than usual? You know what I mean? Like, think about how you usually would really sleep in and stay in bed, but this time, just imagine you go that little. You wake up just a little bit earlier and everything's all nice and quiet and peaceful. You know what I'm saying? I remember that feeling when I went to New York, and it's supposed to be the city that never sleeps, right? It's the city that never sleeps. So I'm not saying that it wasn't active in the morning. You know what I mean? There were definitely people out and about, but I just remember the feeling of I woke up relatively early to get my day started because I wanted to get out there into the city, explore, walk around, look at all the buildings, take in all the sights, really. And I think it was one of those things where I was walking around and I kind of felt like this quiet in the city. Like there wasn't too many people out there. It literally felt like it was just at most 10 people outside in the city, like that morning. You know what I mean? I was walking around and I was kind of like, where is everybody, Come to find out they're all in the subway, but I felt just an incredible calmness in the city, like a quiet ease and something nice and peaceful about it that I enjoyed. And this is supposed to be the a gigantic city, everything's happening, you know what I mean? Food delivery trucks and somebody's doing something out there, it can't just be me out there, right? But and it wasn't. It definitely wasn't, but there wasn't a loud presence. There wasn't a very loud there wasn't something crazy going on maybe at night or in the afternoon or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So I just remember so distinctly, it was so good to feel that. And I feel that now waking up, I guess you could call it early, whatever. It's just like being awake, I guess, or whatnot. But you have this moment of the day that it's early, you can wake up, but the sun's not out yet. You know what I'm saying? Or it's just starting, sunrise is just starting to come out, and I feel this tremendous amount of ease and quiet in this moment of I just want to enjoy it. I just want to sit here and relax and get ready for the day, because that's the main thing. It's I'm not saying it just has to be like that all day. I'm just saying it's I enjoy that moment because it's it gets me prepared. It makes me feel ready. It's the day is just getting started and I'm ready to take it on. You know what I mean? But first I just need a little peace and quiet. And I'm not saying it has to be like that all the time. There have been days where I've woken up early in the morning and then the craziest, you know what I mean? I start playing the loudest, craziest song in the world. Some people are I don't really like to talk, no music. I'm just gonna, what's it called? I'm just gonna raw dog this commute or this drive or, this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to think here. When I used to commute to college, I used to drive to school, and I remember I would usually listen to a podcast or something that's going to fill up the time of the drive. You know what I mean? Some days I would listen to music. Other days I would just put on a nice, cool podcast. You know what I'm saying? And then there was some times where I wouldn't do anything. There wouldn't be anything playing. It's I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to listen to anything. Let me just enjoy just the quietness of the road. And there were other cars, but it was just kind of it was just us, just out the open road. And I do want to say this though. Um, when I drive, I like it to be like, I mean, not quiet, but I just like the open road. You know what I'm saying? I like that aesthetic of like the late night fog or the early morning fog of like just the day beginning. Like it's the morning, but there's still like, what's it called? The street lights are still on. It's like very foggy. You know what I'm saying? I just really enjoy that feeling, that kind of aesthetic or that kind of moment of the day that I really enjoy. It's just an ease. It's why I kind of like what's it called? Mystical stuff a little bit. Like I don't know how to best explain this. It's like what's it called? It's like Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, where Luke goes to train with Yoda. I forget the name of the planet. Darn it, Dagobah or something. I totally forget what it's called. But there's kind of like a mysticness to it. You know, it's related to the Force and whatnot. But there's kind of like this foresty, swampy, like peacefulness to it. You know, that's the kind of stuff I like. That's the kind of aesthetic I would like to go be around every once in a while. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making any sense here. It's kind of like man, I can't exactly think of the correct, what's it called, terminology for it. It's just like a mysticky, wispy, kind of like a late night, early morning vibe. That's what I'm trying to explain here. I'm trying to explain a vibe of quiet and peace. You know what I'm saying? And a certain feng shui that I'm really attached to some mornings. I'm not saying it has to be every morning, you know what I mean? But just like, I'll say like a good like 60%, you know what I mean? Kind of like devoted to that kind of a feeling, that kind of a moment. And it's because of that moment, I'm able to like appreciate it, and I'm able to be like, finally some quiet, some peace, and then be able to take on whatever else comes my way. You know what I'm saying? It's like the chaos of life or whatnot. I feel. But anyways, and there are so many times where I'll just sit in my car and nothing will be going on. Like nothing's happening. Like I'll be ready to like come back inside to my house. Like it'll be early in the morning and it's still quiet outside. The sun is out, sun is just rising, and I finally get like this moment of the day where it's like, man, so much is going to happen today, but nothing has really happened yet. So it's like, I don't know. It's just enjoying that moment, enjoying that peaceful time of the day. And I kind of feel like, what can I really say? There are times throughout the day you can feel that peace, but it's not, I guess it's kind of not the same, or I'm not describing it right. It's just that getting that peaceful time, like when does it stop being, because you can definitely experience that peace during like 1 to 2 a.m. because like everybody's asleep essentially, supposed to be. But then if you like wake up at 5 or 6 a.m., you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, what's the overall difference? And I think the overall difference is like 5 or 6 a.m. is like some people's normal of like, oh, I went to sleep at like 10 p.m. and then I woke up at 5 a.m. and now I'm, refreshed and I'm ready to do my work or to take on my day or to do whatever. You know what I'm saying? or um or it's kind of like the day is just the day hasn't started yet per se, right? It's just you woke up, you're getting ready, and you need that peace to get ready. Does that make sense? You need that peace to get ready. I think I just messed it up. I was on a train of thought just now, and then I lost it. So I was just trying to get back on it. You ever think about what I thought about this. I was like, what is a tiger's morning routine? Right? Like I was like, does a tiger really feel any sort of peace? You know? He always has to I get the impression that like they're an animal, so they gotta get up and they gotta go get their food, they gotta hunt, they gotta attack. You know what I mean? They gotta do all of these things. Do they ever have like a moment of peace? You know, what is their morning routine? And I think there is some, for like I guess all animals, a sense of like I have built this home, or I have this spot that I call home, and that is my quote unquote peaceful spot. That is my place of habitat, my place to enjoy. And I guess we're some of the only people that we make a home and then we just like stay there per se. That's not necessarily always true, but I think you get what I'm saying. It's kind of like a tiger per se always is like roaming around, or maybe a lion is a better example. Is like a lion is always kind of like wandering the safari and catching antelope and other prey like zebra and whatnot, right? But then is there ever like one solid like, you know, piece of rock or land that they don't like, that they just chill out at? Do you get what I'm saying here? It's kind of like the lion goes all over the place. The safari is their habitat. That is their preferred home. That is where they live per se. But they just walk all the way around it. You know what I mean? It would be like if the city or town that you're in, right? And you just walk around from house to house, and you can just choose where to sleep in the bed, or you know what I'm saying? Like, and hunt your food. You know what I mean? Like, I feel that's so funny to think about. But that's what they do. You know what I mean? They're a lot more free out there to enjoy their lives. And I imagine now, because of this overwhelmingly hot summer, that they're, you know, regretting being out there in the safari. But you know, their life is life. You know, they're figuring it out. Anyways, I say all that because it's like, where do the lions find true peace? Is it when they eat? You know, when they get the kill and then they tear apart the muscle and the fat and the meat off of the bones? Or is it when they're finished eating and they can just rest and they fall asleep? But that's not, falling asleep is peaceful, but it's like you're unconscious. You're not, you know, taking in the day or the morning, right? So then I guess they do feel it, because a majority of the time they just kind of chill, hang around, you know what I'm saying? They kind of just sit there sometimes, you know, they don't really do a lot. And I guess that's a misconception. Maybe they're just like waiting for it to get cooler in the day to attack, you know what I mean? If I remember in in like one of my science classes, I there was kind of like this quiz or like test or whatnot to like learning about desert animals. Like there's this like mouse that lives out in the desert, and there's kind of like we try to figure out like, okay, when does the mouse get out of its shelter to go hunt and look for food or find something to eat? And I was like, oh, it probably, like us, like probably early in the day, go get some food and then come back and sleep, right? Like that seems like logical. But then they were like, no, no, no. It stays inside of its home early in the mornings. What about in the, at 12 p.m.? And I was like, okay, maybe it comes out for like lunch or whatever. And they're like, no. What about like in the afternoon? And I was like, I mean, if just in time for dinner, maybe. And they're just like, you're right, but you're wrong. You know what I mean? What about like late afternoon? And I was like, okay, yeah, probably, and they were like, exactly. They wait until it gets cold, it's not so piping hot outside, and they can be easily detected by predators so that they can go out there and they can find their food and whatnot. And then because that's when they go out to like hunt and stuff. That's why the birds or like the vultures or like other desert birds or predators live. They'll kind of like wait until then to hunt as well. So it's this whole process of like waiting throughout the day to really get after it. And there is times throughout our days that like we have created the concept of like early in the morning, that's where it has to like the day starts and blah 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 blah. And for the most part it's like, yeah, you're right, like that's when the day starts. We all accept that fact. But then there's like people who work the midnight shift, they probably like, you know what I'm saying, like they might wake up, they might start their day at like 6 p.m. You know what I mean? Or 5 p.m., right? They wake up, they're like, all right, I gotta get ready for work, So then they kind of, I don't want to say commute. I don't know what kind of like job would, let's just say they work at a graveyard. You know what I mean? They have to take care of that. Or maybe they're security for like a concert. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there, okay? Seeing whatever, right? And they have to stay there and protect the artist or whoever's out there, and they have to be out there, so they have to stay out there all night. Whatever. Long story short, that's when their day starts, and then it kind of ends, I guess, early in the morning, huh? It kind of ends like midday, earlier in the morning, and then they go to sleep, and then they miss like, I don't know, I want to say like they miss most of the daytime, but it's just kind of like, it's all relative, you know what I mean? It's like everybody's morning or everybody's starts of their day starts at different places, But to that point, it's kind of like, if you start your day later in the afternoon, then you can't really get that peace. You can't get that quiet. You can't get that same kind of vibe that I'm talking about, because you have to accept that, oh, there is no peace at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. or 7, whenever, their day starts. It's like, oh no, it's going to be very loud. Everybody's awake. Everybody's going to dinner. Everybody's socializing, going on dates, doing this, doing that. Like they're just getting their day, closer and closer to the end, closer and closer to like, oh, they just got off work. Now they're hustling to do this other thing, or they're returning back home, or they're planning to go to this event and da-da-da-da-da. So it just kind of feels like there isn't much time for that, quote unquote peace when life happens that way. That's why the morning is so important to a great many people, like millionaires and billionaires. They always talk about like how they get so much accomplished just by doing things earlier in the day. Like I remember I saw this interview, or maybe I saw somebody else talk about it, but they were like kind of describing Kobe Bryant's like work ethic, and for basketball, it was just like by waking up at like 4 a.m. and going to the gym and practicing and hooping and like putting in that work and that dedication early on is like, yeah, I would go there to the gym at 4 a.m. and then I would get in like a set, I would play like a pretend game, or I would do some drills, I would do my workout, and then I would go again then I would like be done, I would go home, I would shower, spend time with my family, take my kids to school, do whatever, so on and so forth. Then I would go back to the gym. I would go back and I would run those same drills again, 2-3 hours maybe, and just keep on working and working and working. And then just like putting all of that effort into it, you know what I mean? Every single step of the way is kind of what it was and what it has always been about for him. And he was just like, you see how much more time I get just by waking up earlier. You see how much more time I get just by putting in that little extra time. You know what I mean? It could be just like normal people wake up at 5 a.m., but I woke up at 4. Just that one little extra hour of like putting in that work and that dedication is what's different. And that's why so many people value the mornings. It's like, and why I value the mornings is because sometimes you get that moment of like, okay, I have like 3 things to do today. I could wait, after I wake up and maybe have like my breakfast or whatnot. I don't know. I'm just generalizing. It's just kind of like, let's say one of the things on your to-do list is you have to go to the store and pick something up. And then another thing is that like you have to clean, the garage or clean your room or whatnot. And then the other one is you have to go fix, you have to go to the auto parts store and pick up something for your car. Or, you have to talk to such and such, or you have to do something for work, and then you have your job or what other, you know what I mean? And then those are the things that are on your to-do list, and then you figure out that like you have so much time earlier in the day to accomplish those goals, Like you woke up early in the morning, and so you took care of that cleaning your room or cleaning the garage thing. And then you had that moment where you went to the grocery store early in the morning. And then you had that time where you went to the auto parts or to the repair shop early in the morning or whatnot, right? Like when they first opened, and then you got whatever it is that you needed, and then you got out of there, you know what I'm saying? Like you already got everything done, so now it's kind of like, okay, I can kind of enjoy the rest of my day. I can kind of enjoy, what's happening next in my life or what I want to do for the rest of the day, So I feel like putting in effort or taking a little bit of time, especially early in the day, can set you up for so much success. It's like a real alley-oop to progress, just taking that little bit of extra time to accomplish your goals, And now there are some times, all right, majority of the time, where when you work, it feels like things are designed for you to be that way. So like, for example, some people don't work early in the mornings like they would like to. Some people don't work, some people don't get to choose their schedules per se. So your day or your job or whatnot doesn't really happen until, let's just say, I remember my first job, I used to work like from 6 to 10 p.m. It was only like a quick shift. It was only part-time. But let's say that's your window to like work, or that's your positions. Like you have to work from this time to this time, and that's when you get to put in your hours. And it's kind of like, well, I would rather work at this time and this time. And they're just like, Yeah, listen, I got everybody here. You know, you got to get on board with the schedule. This is the schedule, and this is when you're going to work. And if you don't like it, you don't get the job or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? It's like stuff like that. And the point I'm making with that is I think it's that starting your day off, even though you don't accomplish all of your goals, there's still something to enjoy about having that peace, having that moment of clarity, and having that time for yourself to kind of be like, okay, I can be who I want to be during this time, you know? It's just that 9 times out of 10 you'll have to do it alone. You know, you have to take on the morning alone. And then handle the difficult stuff later on in the day, like your job or your work or something that you have to do that isn't like socializing or meeting up with people or hanging out with your friend group or whoever, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's kind of my whole point is that if you can capture that peaceful morning, you know, you could take that time for yourself at any time of the day, but I think if you can do it earlier on in the day or like in the early mornings, it just kind of carries on with you, you know? It carries on no matter what you do, you know? You remember that moment, you remember that feeling, and you can just like carry it with you and just be like, that was so peaceful. It was so serene. It was so quiet and gentle, and it felt like I could just breathe and let it go. You know what I mean? Kind of just relax a little bit, you know, even though I have a heavy burden or stress on my shoulders per se. And that's nothing to that's not really anything too great or too special. But for me, every time I feel it or I let it go or I kind of like become a part of the peaceful and the quiet and the still and the like the nice gentle morning, it just kind of is like I'm able to know that there's a space and a time for me to like I can make anything just like this morning has made me gentle and softer and more quiet. I can make any situation or anything that I'm in, any, you know, particularly rough spot or loud place that I'm in, I can make it quiet and peaceful and nice, you know? It's like if you fall asleep during like a big club party. Or I think I said this before, but there's like these big DJ sets that happen in like hotel rooms or that happen in like these hotels, right? Like when you go on vacation or whatnot. And then it's like boons, 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 like very loud, like DJ music, EDM or whatever. And you're just kind of like, you're like, what the hell is going on? And you're like, how can anybody sleep to this? You know what I mean? It's like, one, they're very tired. And two, it's like they need the rest and they can just like tune out the noise. And it's just like, you know, I don't know. I don't think that made as much sense from what I was saying. But all I'm trying to say is that to the people that work the midnight shift, just because they start their day at 5 p.m. doesn't mean it's like it's not their morning, it's not the start of their day, and they can make any situation peaceful. They can make their environment, their home, their car, their anywhere that they are, they can just like slow it down, make it easy, and find peace. You know, find a little time to be quiet and a little time to kind of just be themselves and, take that first breath and kind of like acknowledge themselves as like there's air going into my lungs, there's air coming out, and I can like feel good about the day, or I can like at least know that I'm all right, So, yeah, that's kind of all I wanted to say and talk about. Just kind of like a real chill episode, very, very easygoing, and I wish you guys an amazing morning. I hope you guys are listening to this in the morning. If not, you know what I mean? You can make this very moment feel like the morning. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.